So what I'm going to do is, well, first and foremost, my name's Trevor. So hello, good morning. I'm going to stand up here at this private property sign. If you want to get your behind wet, you're welcome to and have a seat. If not, just stand. I'm going to go through some history of this facility because it's not every day you get to be at one of the most historic quarries in the country. And then we'll go through a lot of other information just regarding the pit and safety and range and all that other fun stuff. And then we'll go down. So I know that's your happy place today. So let me get started. So again, good morning. You are standing not on the oldest quarry property, not on the biggest, but like I said, one of the most historic. Anybody have a guess why? Oh, we have monuments all over the place. So, anybody have a guess as to how long ago it was when somebody had a pickaxe and shovel here at this facility? When was the very first documented time that somebody had a pickaxe and shovel here?
Last week.
Last week? Well, last week we did. 1791. Somebody did their research. 1791. 1791 was the very first time an Irish immigrant was documented with pickaxe and shovel here at this facility. Irish immigrants had fled from Ireland during the potato famine at that time, and in the 16 and 1700s, and a lot of the East Coast landed a lot of Irish immigrants. They fled, they came over here, they happened to be farmers. So they knew, farming, there's a mineral in the ground that can help us farm. What mineral is that? Limestone, right? So, well, would you look at that? We have an abundance of it in this vein. So at that time, this right side where you're standing, the right side of the pit was one of the first extracted zones of the quarry for that limestone. Pickaxe, shovel, a grinding wheel to grind it down, and a kiln. What's a kiln? Fire, oven, right? Fire and oven, right? We're going to burn it. So they're going to burn the stone. That changes a lot of chemical compound to it. They would then haul it from the kilns after it's burned. They bring it back out here onto all these fields because this was a giant field at one point and not a hole in the ground. And they would spread the lime out on the field to change the pH of the soil. Essentially fertilizer. So get my potatoes, get my corn, get all my crops growing much faster and more fruitful. So that's what they did for probably a couple decades, just around a couple decades. Think about it. The first pickaxe and shovel was going in the ground as George Washington was in his second presidency. That's pretty wicked. That, like, when I first heard that, I got goosebumps everywhere. I was like, this is pretty neat. That's cool. So George Washington has done and passed, decades go by, Congress is formed. Congress gathers up a lot of money and they say, you know what? We want to build a monument. We want to erect a pure, clean, white monument in honor of the first president of the United States, which is the Washington Monument. So the Washington Monument, they start raising all this money for the Washington Monument and they start looking around. Big radiuses, 40, 50 miles around DC, down in Virginia, up here in Maryland. They're looking for this beautiful white stone. They happen to stumble across it right over here. So, lucky for them, the recrystallized marble that's here is easily extractable in boulders, and they can mason it very easily. So it's not super, super hard. They can get at it with chisel and a hammer pretty easily. So they contract the Irish immigrants that were here to build from the base of the monument up 156 feet, and only 156 feet. Because something very big happened, a big war broke out. The Civil War. Civil War broke out, 156 feet up, and the Civil War breaks out. Abraham Lincoln is riding around Washington, D.C., and sees only this. And will die seeing only this. Never sees it completed. The Civil War finishes because we just decide to fight each other, because that's just fun. And North versus the South, we know how it played out. And Maryland at that time is full of some Southern sympathizers as well as Northern sympathizers. We have a little give and take. We've got a little back and forth. With that, there's a problem. Congress, after the Civil War breaks out, because Civil War, nothing happens other than fighting. There's no building, there's no nothing. Civil War breaks out, it's done. Congress raises money again and comes back to this facility to finish this monument. They come back here to, at that time, after the Civil War, this property has been taken over by Southern sympathizers. Congress, being Union Firebrand, being more Northern, comes to a Southern sympathizing property to try to get stone. Didn't go very well. So, Congress was given the middle finger and said to go find it somewhere else. So they did. They traveled. They said, you know what? We know we're not going to get stone from a Southern sympathizing facility. It's just not going to happen. We got to go north. So they did. They traveled as far as Sheffield, Massachusetts. Yeah. Which, think about it, that's by horse and wagon. Go to Boston today by car. Now do it by horse. That's a hike. Now do it hauling giant boulders of stone by horse and wagon. And that's what they did until they realized this is costing too much money. And this is way too much time, way too much money. We don't have the power to do this. We don't have anything. Well, let's stop. We ran out of money. Let's revisit this. So they stopped. Only just a couple layers. So as you see the Washington Monument, you see that distinct layer cut, that colorization. It restarts again as another layer. So there's a middle, like four or five layers that are Sheffield stone from Sheffield, Massachusetts. They restart again. Congress says, you know what? We got the money. We did yet another and hopefully last fund drive. Let's go back to Ellengowan, which is this place. Before it was named Texas, it was named Ellengowan, an Irish name. So let's go back to Ellengowan and let's finish this stone. Let's finish the monument. So they came back. Southern sympathizers are still here, and they said, you still can't have it, but we know a new young Irish family just up the road just started their own quarry, which is now today the Beaver Dam Swim Club, which was the Beaver Dam Quarry. Just about a mile and a half north, in between us and those 4 Executive Plaza buildings up in Hunt Valley. In between that space is the Beaver Dam Swim Club today, which was the Beaver Dam Quarry. They go up to the Beaver Dam Quarry, and from that top black line all the way to the top, the stone, Cockeysville marble, came from Beaver Dam Quarry. So we like to say the Washington Monument came from Cockeysville. Except for that little sliver of, stepchild Sheffield. So, but the exterior facade, the exterior stone was the parts that came from these two facilities for the most part. The interior, you're going to see stone from Egypt, Pakistan, Africa, Oregon, Texas. You're going to see it from all over the world. They're commemorative stones from around the world. So the Washington Monument is one of the most historic aspects of this facility. And of course, we're at the 250th year of the United States. So our magazine, it's called The Conveyor. Mark Marietta's magazine has like a whole 5-page spread on the monument because it's the 250th year of the country. So it's pretty fun. It's pretty cool. We do take a lot of pride in it. And before you leave today, you are going to get a hard hat sticker that says Rock Hounder on it, and it has the Washington Monument on it. So cool. But you got to stay until at least like noon. Okay. No matter the rain. Sorry. A couple other really neat ones. We already saw the Washington Monument. These two pictures down at the bottom are from the Beaver Dam Quarry. We like to provide them because that quarry doesn't have an exposition center or a tour center or anything. It's a swim club. People pay to go swimming in there now. So it's like they don't really broadcast their history. So we like to for them. So Beaver Dam. This photo up here is a black and white of the 1970s as 83 was just starting to be created, which is pretty neat. A couple other monuments that came from this facility is down at the bottom left is the George Washington Monument down in Mount Vernon. That monument Fun fact about that monument was built entirely before this one was ever started. Wow. It's odd. He's like, wait a minute. But I know this one. Well, yeah, because it's a giant obelisk, right? It's giant. That one, not so much. But that one was erected with both the Beaver Dam Quarry stone and the Cockeysville marble that came out of Texas. So that has a 50-50 of both stones. The spires to the St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York City, those were taken by train up to New York City. But those two big spires along the side, none of the rest of the cathedral, but just those two large spires were hauled up by boulder and masoned on site. So that was when we had the rail line, the locomotive rail line, going up and down past Beaver Dam, where Beaver Dam Road is today. Anybody know where the first rail line, commercial rail line in the United States went to and where it came from? Guesses?
Baltimore.
Baltimore is one correct location. And where? Nope, not Philly. Yes, your hometown of Ellicott City. It went from today's Camden Yards,
Ellicott City,
the brickyard, the all that brick, from Camden Yards to Ellicott City. So it was the first commercial rail line in the United States. It was right here in Baltimore. The second or third, we still are back and forth with it, is today's light rail that goes from Camden Yards up to York, Pennsylvania. It wasn't the B&O Railroad. Everybody knows the B&O, right? It was the B&S, which is the Baltimore and Susquehannock. The Baltimore and Susquehannock Railroad is literally right here alongside the quarry. And still today, over at my office on the other side, we have railroad ties that still come into the quarry from there. So we have like a little historic pick in the ground, fun facts, touching history. That's cool, right? So we would take it out onto the rail line, take it down into Baltimore, up in New York, and then railroad expansion happened. It was able to go more places. So that's the railroad side. I also have squirrelism. So if I ever get off topic anywhere, ADHD, sorry. So I might venture off a story. But historical information, we've got all those different monuments. Another really neat one was on a day like today, where it's really rainy, Baltimore Harbor could possibly rise and flood townhouses. So contractors are building these townhouses in Fells Point, Canton, Fed Hill, not necessarily Fed Hill because it's up on a hill, but in like Canton everywhere. And instead of building wooden steps, wooden porches, because they flood every now and then, let's build stone porches. Let's put stone down. It's going to last forever, right? So contractors in the early 1900s are building these row homes, townhouses in Baltimore, and they say, let's find the stone. Let's go venture out. We need to stay close to Baltimore, though. We're not going to pay too much. They find us. We're about this big. None of that has been touched yet. All of that that's wide open that you're going to go down in is touched. Well, they come up here, and we're done building monuments at that point. We're done. We're moving into the aggregate, road stone, construction, crushed stone side of the company, of this facility. So we have over on the right side just hundreds of tons of blocked, recrystallized marble that have already been masoned on site for different block jobs. We had tons of this stuff. And they come up here and they say, hey, we'll buy it. And we said, hey, take it for free because we don't want it anymore. So by train, they loaded up all of these blocks for the row home steps down in Baltimore, and they take them down in and set them up as steps to the row homes and townhouses for free. So they take those. That's another iconic, more historical piece. And those are like the main monuments. Like I said, we started as Ellengowan, Irish name. We then moved to the name Texas. There's two stories. One's my favorite. The other one's written in stone. I don't like the written in stone one. Because nobody likes that. That's not fun. The written in stone one is Irish Army individuals were stationed down in the state of Texas, helped fight for independence from Mexico, won, or fought with distinction, or were just big rebel rousers. came back here years later, had a wicked hot summer, said it feels like we're back down in Texas. You know what? Let's name the place Texas. So they did. They took a vote and named the place Texas. That's the boring story. The fun story that I love, that a rumor went out on Reddit and the interwebs, is mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, cat, dog, monkey, donkey, whatever, loads up in Massachusetts. They hear of this beautiful, hot state of Texas. So today's Destin, Florida, right? Good on the joints. And they load up and they say, you know what? Let's start making our way down to Texas. So they do. They go from Massachusetts down what we know as today 95 corridor. They get to this area, either blow a tire, their transmission blows on the wagon, the donkey runs out of gas, something happens. The dad throws up his hands and says, screw it, we're in Texas. I like that.
Tells his kids, we're there.
So, but we have been in Texas for quite some time. And everybody said, wait a second, oh, we're not in Texas. I had one tour of children. You know, from kindergarten up to near death. I visit everybody here. And that's morbid, I'm sorry. But we had a fourth grade class up here, like 120 kids. It was awesome. And we had so much fun. One kid was like, I'm at the Grand Canyon. I was like, yeah, you are. Where's the Grand Canyon located? Florida. And I was like, yeah. Where are you now? And he's like, I'm in Texas. I'm a child. It was awesome. It was so much fun. I love children. So, but that's some of the historical side for the stone that came from this facility. When it comes to the stone that you're going to find here, a lot of the specimen pictures that are over on the table are those 1 in a million chances that they found them. But those are actual specimens that were taken from this facility, cleaned, photographed, and presented back to us from rock hounders like you. So they are in that as well. A lot of what you're going to find here, we're going to stop at 2 locations today. Those 2 locations, one is right by the water. So you're going to go all the way down to the water. That location, you're going to find, you could possibly find, I'll say could possibly, I'm not going to say you are going to find it. You could possibly find some calcite crystals. So there'll be calcite crystals similar to this one. This one's not straight up, beautiful big crystal of calcite. But as we start packing up and heading out and everything, this one is more of that direct calcite. So you might find some calcite crystals. The second location will be more pyrite related. So both areas have been recently blasted and very, very little picked through. Cool. Unless it was a pit load. So unless it was scooped up by a loader and moved. So most of it is fresh to you and me. So outside of that, when it comes to the facility and the stone, those are 2 of the main ones. Anything else you could dabble in seeing a little bit of everything that's on those parts. So find something cool, you are welcome to take it home. You can load up as much as you can carry, and I've said that, and some people have taken full advantage of that. I'm like, how are you getting home? But they do. The whole truck is like, and they're like, no, I'm taking back roads home. I'm good. He's like, okay. You signed a whole harmless waiver, so something gets damaged. It's not my fault. Sorry.
Rock out a big whoopsie.
Oh, yeah. Oh, of course. Of course. So the last part of the history that I was talking about, there was that squirrelism. Sorry. The last part of the history starts at the bottom of this placard and moves over to the other one. The invention of something really important that got you here today happened in the early 1900s, which was the car, right? The automotive vehicle thing. Combustion engine is invented by Mr. Ford himself in the early 1900s. Well, one problem. I've got horse trail, cattle, wagons, trains even at that point. One problem though, I now have a car with 4 round things, but I don't have what? Roads. I don't have roads. Well, crap. Good for us. Because in the early 1900s, that's where, pun intended, the quarry booms started. That's where that's where the quarry booms started. That's when the big expansion of our quarry began. And that's where pretty much from top of water and out and go northwest, all of that was part of our big expansion for roads. For roadstone, for building hospitals, houses, grocery stores, malls, shopping centers, all of that comes from a quarry, right? So early 1900s, we start helping build roads. Harry T. Campbell is the first commercial owner of this facility. Everything else has been families, the Southern sympathizers, union workers, the Irish immigrants, but no solid company has had this facility until 1925. Harry T. Campbell buys it. We go through several decades with Harry T. Campbell as the owner. Harry T. Campbell is ready to retire, has 3 boys, 3 young adults, and says, you know what, boys, I'm ready to retire. The company's yours. And they said, sorry, Dad, we don't want it. All 3 of them said, we want nothing to do with it. And so Harry T. Campbell, sadly, then sold the facility to Flintcoat. Flintcoat is a British asbestos company. As we should know, asbestos is a naturally occurring earth mineral. It is not man-made. We just manipulate it, right? So it is a naturally occurring earth mineral. We have asbestos here, the non-cancerous. So don't worry. If we had the cancerous, we'd be in big trouble. You wouldn't be here. Then this facility wouldn't exist. So asbestos, they were looking for some of that asbestos. Well, the return of investment for them, they're spending millions and millions and millions of dollars to extract this stone, and they're getting nothing back from it. So they said, never mind. It's just not worth our time. It's not worth the money. They sell. After several years, they sell to Ginstar. Ginstar, there's mergers. Ginstar then flips this back. They don't worry about the asbestos. The asbestos just gets crushed and put on the road, right? So from Ginstar on, it's been aggregate. It's been crushed stone for construction-related projects. Ginstar to Vasco to Redland, merged of Redland Ginstar to Lafarge, who coins themselves as one of the leading producers of aggregates in the world. They're based out of France. And sold to Bluegrass, which is a group of 3 investors who go in and essentially house flip, but they flip quarries. So a house flip, you buy a house for $100,000, you sell it for $1 million, right? That's what they did here. Buy the facility for $1 million, sell it for $1 billion. And that's what they do. So they came in for 5 years, cleaned the place up, hired some amazing people to make sure that its life stayed great. Sold it to Martin Marietta. When you think of Martin Marietta, what do you think of? Airplanes, missile defense, bombers, right? You think of aerospace. Well, you were right until 1993. And then you're wrong. I don't like saying people wrong, but sometimes it's fun. Yeah, right. So Martin Marietta as a company started in the early 1930s, we do have active equipment here today doing some cleanup, so we'll talk to that when it comes to segment. Early 30s, Martin Marietta is one quarry as Superior Stone down in Raleigh, North Carolina. Superior Stone, fly to the ground, one quarry. Years go by, they then get purchased by American Marietta. There's a name, American Marietta. Just a couple more years go by, and a gentleman by the name of Glenn O. Martin, thanks to the picture. Glenn O. Martin is a pioneer in aviation, purchased the rights of aviation from the Wright brothers, literally directly from the site gun. Glenn O. Martin then realizes, oh crap, I need specialty minerals. Where am I going to find these minerals? Oh, what? Quarries. Quarries have these specialty minerals to help me build my prototypical bomber. You know, the Enola Gay. You've got propeller planes, you've got all of that. Glenn O. Martin then realizes, I need those, and I don't want to pay for them. So let me merge. So they then marry. We've got Glenn O. Martin and American Marietta become one as Martin Marietta. Then we are aviation and aggregate and mineral. So we become Martin Marietta for several decades. 1993, we're getting really into jet propulsion. No more propeller planes, anything along those lines. We're done with that. And we realize we don't need you anymore. You don't really need us. Synthetics exist. You guys have all sorts of stuff that you could figure out. We don't really need you anymore, and we want to flourish on our own. So we did. 1993, Martin Marietta kept the name Martin Marietta, added Materials Incorporated. So Martin Marietta Materials Incorporated then goes live as a publicly traded company. I personally own 14 shares of the company. Very, very happy to say that we are doing very well. We are nearing 700 on the stock market, and I'm very, very, very happy about it. So, publicly traded company in 1993, and the Glen Martin side branches off, and if you go down to White Marsh, just outside of Baltimore, you'll see it doesn't say Martin Marietta anymore. Anybody know what it says? Yes, it says Lockheed Martin. Lockheed Martin is the aerospace division. They kept the Martin side, but it's Lockheed Martin, and we have nothing to do with them since 1993. Nothing. So Martin Marietta is, like I said, publicly traded company. We just acquired about another 100 quarries. We're at about 800 quarries across the entire United States, including Nova Scotia, British Columbia, and the Bahamas. Tens of thousands of employees. Anything ranging from driller to CEO, lawyers, because they exist, right? Flexers, haulers, crushers, screeners, I mean, you name it. Office managers, plant managers, all the above. Professional drone pilots. Literally, business card says, her name's Bethany. Bethany, last name, professional drone pilot, employed by Martin Marietta. And all she does is she flies around to She flies around to the different quarries and flies them. And we use the drone to measure our cubic yardage of our stockpiles, as well as pit planting. So there's a lot of technology that is used in mining today. So that's the history. That's the cool part. The last part before we talk about safety and start loading up is everybody always has questions before we get down there about what we see. So I'd like to answer those before we go down. The water. The water is about 70 feet deep today. Might be about 80 just with some of the rain that happened overnight. There is a pump that is constantly on. It is a 500 horsepower pump that is constantly pumping out over 2,000 gallons of water per minute. So it is pumping up water up and out into settling ponds, as well as the crushers, screen decks, and our water truck. When we drive around, we'll just drive to the other side, and we'll actually get the opportunity to go by the water truck and all the equipment. So you're going to get to see the magnitude of the earth-moving equipment as well. But we put it in the water truck. It's an 11,000 gallon tank that gets emptied about 12 to 15 times a day when it's not raining, because this is our dust suppression. This is great, but that's all that it does. It empties that tank for the dust suppression out on roads, sprays down shots afterwards. It's dust suppression related. That's really it. So the water, who thinks that it is drinkable? You want to try? No, don't do that today. You might have a little upset stomach today, but yes, I mean, eventually this quarry, when it's all played out, we've got about 40 to 45 more years left here with the reserves that have been planned. This will fill up. It will become Beaver Dam Swim Club. It'll become Quarry Lake. It'll become like a reservoir. And this will become Baltimore City's second largest form of public drinking water. There'll be a filtering facility on site that will ship it down to Baltimore City. Anybody know what the first is?
Like position show. Wait,
What'd you say?
the first facility.
Yeah, the current location for Baltimore City. What is that? Lock Raven. Yeah, it is Lock Raven Reservoir. Lock Raven Reservoir, huge facility, but that is pumped out and cleaned and filtered for Baltimore City. This will become the second. And the only way we know that is because we have a bond that is paid every year to the state of Maryland after the reclamation plan is engaged, and we say we have nothing left to mine here because we're stuck. We can't go further south, east, north, or west. because we got roads all over the place. We're done. This becomes a swimming hole. This becomes a fishery. This becomes drinkable water. Who thinks that you can swim in that water today? Don't do it, but you could. It's perfectly swimmable water. It's fairly clean. Actually, most quarries, the water that enters our facility is dirtier than the water that leaves our facility, because Earth is a natural filter, right? So we just love it. I love that. Just don't drink the water today. Okay? Don't go licking the rocks. How cold is it? You'd be quite chilly. You'd be quite chilly. Yeah, just don't. You're gonna be my problem child today. Yeah. This facility, we are from here to the other side of the pit is 1 mile. So from here to the other side, where our primary crusher is, which is a big gray structure, which looks like it has ladders and scaffolding alongside it, it's a mile away, by half a mile east to west, and we are roughly 550 feet deep. Again, we're not the biggest, we're not the oldest, but it's really cool because you get to touch a massive part of history and take home historical artifacts today. So, which is really, really neat. Trying to think of anything else while we're up here about this. Same as anybody's backyard with the woods. You've got the snakes, deer, everything else, fox, beavers, beaver dam swimming club beavers, skinwalkers. Yep. Outside of that, when we start traveling, we are going to go, our path of travel is going to be from where that green face is. We're going to go around that side. We're going to travel down the haul road, which we're going to essentially be a customer truck today. We're a dump truck. We're going to go down the haul road, down at the base of the big dirt pile. We're going to go behind the tree line on the other side. That's where our stockpiles are, our finished product. So our stockpiles are over there. Then we're going to swing around to the truck lineup, so that as we go by, you can roll down the window, you can take some pictures if you want. You'll see these 8-foot tall tires that cost me $22,000 to replace, which is real. We just did it this year. We'll go by, take as many pictures as you'd like. Any videos, if you've got a family member that wants a video, going by it, totally fine. We are not stopping at the equipment though, okay? Because today's purpose is recognized. Well in roads, it's fine. I say that because I am evident. Then we're going to go down in the pit. We're going to stop at 2 locations today. One is down almost right at the water. Okay, we're going to come down to the water and pivot up in just a little bit. When we get out, you are very, very welcome to immediately start making your way over the berms and start collecting. When we do get down there, one very, 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 very important thing, and I have a good feeling this group will not disobey it. Don't climb the berms. Don't go over the berms. The berms are there for your protection, okay? This is an active quarry. There are still unstable ledges, okay? It is an active mine. There is the likelihood, and hopefully never will happen. We have never had a fatality here, and I don't want you to be the first. Or serious injury. Okay, so, but if that happens, you signed a piece of paper, sorry. Just kidding, I'm here for you. I do, when it comes to safety, I do have a first aid kit in my truck. And I'm sure there are plenty of us also that have some first aid kits in their vehicle. So it's basic bandages and stuff. So if you get a little abrasion or you need some assistance with something, just let me know. No climbing on berms, no climbing on berms, no climbing on berms. You are welcome to get right to that berm, reach on into it, find what you want, dig through stuff, have fun, enjoy it. We'll spend roughly about an hour to an hour and a half at both locations. I gauge on you. So if I see everybody's just kind of like chilling, nobody's really picking at anything, I have a wicked loud, stupid loud, it's probably too loud, air horn. I just honk it one time. That says, hey, you got about 5 minutes until we load back up and we make our way to the next location. Please do not travel without me. Okay? Do not travel without me. Some of us have asked if I can leave early. You absolutely can. I'm not holding you hostage. What I do ask of you, if you are leaving early and you're in your own vehicle, just try to picture your way as we go down. Try to remember on your way back up. Okay, we're all adults. I hope. I'm not gonna hold your hand. You just make your way back out. The gate will stay open. Okay, so you can make your way back up here, or if you're just done and you want to come back up here and chill, that's fine. Okay. The second location, the first location is going to have odds and ends, kind of what we see on the table, other than pyrite. You'll probably find some darker and maybe some chalcopyrite at our first location. The second one is more of very, very pyrite heavy. So, and then from there, after that one, I'll bid you adieu. So, before you leave today, please make sure that you grab yourself a Rock Hounder sticker for your hard hat. They're fun. They'll be with me. Yeah, they'll be with me. So what we'll do before we head over there, I'll turn it over to Renee in case you have anything to talk about. But my white pickup truck that's behind you with the strobes on and a flag sticking out of its rear end. Okay, so I will be the lead. Just look for that flag bobbling. Okay, and the strobes. I'll come out and I'll get out on the blacktop and we just caravan. Just follow along. It will be muddy. Okay, I promise you, it will be muddy. I am hopping out of these boots and I'm getting into my mud boots, so that when we get out there and I get to play with you, I get to get muddy too. So,
Except back us.
yes, okay. You will come back out the same way you came in.
Trucks are died.
Sorry?
Trucks, tires are died.
Chalks for today's purposes are not required. If you have them, you're welcome to use them. You'll see me use mine, just because it's habit. Chalks. Wheel chalks. Oh, yep, wheel chalks. So you are not required to have them for today's visit. If you have them, great. You're welcome to use them. Here. Yeah. Just hold off for like 4 more hours.
Yeah, right.
Outside of that, what questions does anybody have before we start loading up? Oh, PPE. I see most of us already have it on. Just make sure I can see you, okay? Some form of solid shoe, okay? In case a rock falls on your foot. I don't want any issues with your foot. Gloves, please wear gloves as applicable. If you're handling something that could be sharp, please just be smart. Put the gloves on. You'll see me pick it. I'll oven mitt my gloves sometimes, and I just pick something up. That's fine. Hard hat, okay, and a hard hat. If you're whacking away at something, put your safety glasses on, okay. If not, you don't need to have them on. Other than that, be smart, be wise, be safe, okay. I don't want you to be my last group here. That's what I'll say, okay. Renee, do you have anything?
Just real quick, if anybody needs a ride down, if you have a car that you are unsure will make the trip down to the bottom of the quarry, I have room in my truck. I know there are other people who have room as well. Just see one of us if you do need to take a lift down so that we're not taking any risks with anybody's vehicle. Other than that, follow the rules. We know what those should be.
Yeah.
Everybody here, I think, has been in a quarry before. Yes. There's nobody here that's like, this is a first quarry trip. So everybody knows what a berm is.
Yes, I am the first.
You're a first timer. You know what a berm is?
Nope.
A berm is a pile of rocks that separates you from the face of the quarry. So when he says don't climb on the berm, don't go over the berm, you're staying on the ground in front of that pile of rocks.
All the berms have material from the shot in them.
You can pick at the berm. There's lots of stuff that'll be in the berm.
Absolutely.
You can pick at the berm.
Absolutely.
Please do not go over the berm.
Yep. Whatever rain gear you have, I've got the umbrella, I've got my raincoat, I've got all that. If you want to pick out a couple things and just chill in your vehicle, that's fine. Today's for you, okay? So it's whatever you make of it.
I was looking at the radar. It does look like we're going to get some rain, but it does not look like heavy rain.
Yeah.
It looks like the heavy stuff has gone north and south. It does not look like any lightning. So I think we'll get a little wet, but it does not look, at least as of right now on the radar, that we're going to get soaked. So that's good.
Shooting.
Yeah. I certainly doubt that. It's funny.